don't remember asking you a goddamn...
Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the podcast that no one asked for. My name is Guy.
And my name is Babs.
And no one asked for this. Today, we will be discussing Season 3 of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's an Amazon original TV show that we both enjoy. And we finished Season 3 a while ago, but the way things work now, you gotta kind of give a chance for regular people to catch up that don't binge things in a week. So let's get right into it, and we're gonna start off. Normally we do our most memorable moment, but it's a TV show and there are 8 episodes, so we're gonna give our most memorable episode. Babs, what you got?
I'm not sure if this is episode 6 or 7. This episode, Maisel is in Miami. They're doing their show in Miami. There's 2 episodes where they're in Miami, but I think this is the first one. In this episode, she goes on a date with Lenny Bruce.
It's not a date.
It's a date.
But it's episode 5.
Okay, it's episode 5.
Comedy or Cabbage is the name of the episode.
So the thing about Maisel is it always has like a lot of snappy dialogue and a lot of beautiful set piece background. This episode has her and Lenny go to this like lounge club, something, I don't know. It's a dance number that happens. There's a very sexy tension that happens between them. And it's a beautiful background. Their dialogue is very lovely. And so that's why I selected that episode. It is very memorable to me because of just the tension between her and Lenny.
That was my second choice because there's a running joke in the whole series has been about everyone thinking that she's fucking Lenny Bruce. Mm-hmm. And they kind of have this excellent chemistry that is not romantic.
It's
on
a little
screen.
It's a little romantic.
It's not meant to be romantic. It's just 2 people that are attracted to each other, but they're not acting on it in any way. They don't hit on each other. They just exist in the same circle and kind of understand each other in ways that other people don't. And to have it kind of be that way, and then the 3rd season, halfway through, kind of pay off for us, where they actually had an opportunity to fuck, and they don't.
Well, she turned him down, is what happened. He was like, you want to come in? I'm here. And then you find out that he's basically just there for her, like he came there for her.
Not necessarily.
He did a little bit.
But, no, because he did the TV show.
Yeah.
So, but I like the way they did it. And my episode is the very next episode where they were out all night, because, Miami. She ends up sleeping by the pool that we met Rob Gronkowski.
Is that same? Oh, because it's Fontainebleau or whatever?
It's that same hotel, same pool. And there's, the episode starts off with like some synchronized swimmers just like practicing a routine. And she wakes up from her previous night with Lenny Bruce and then just kicks a beach ball at him. And that was funny. But then the episode gets real fast, where it's a bunch of, the 60s in America wasn't the greatest time for not straight white people.
Yep.
And Maisel not normally the kind of show that addresses those kind of things. It just kind of is like, they make jokes about the Holocaust, even though they're Jews in the 60s, or late 50s, early 60s. And it just kind of, that's how you know that it's really a show written in our time about just a time that I guess the creator connects with. But this one gets a little real. Turns out the guy she's on tour with is gay, and they also talk about the fact that he can't even stay in the hotel that he's performing in. And then there's a guy that was blacklisted because he's a communist. And in I'd say a twist, that's Jason Alexander, oddly, but I'd say as a twist, he actually is a communist. It's not that he was falsely accused. He was a communist, but that there's nothing about him as a person that says that means he should have his whole career taken away and be blacklisted. He was a writer. And the mix of the comedy with also real life things, and it ends with a musical number by the Shy Baldwin the guy she's on tour with, where, you know, because he's got like bruised ribs and like a busted face from being beat up, that they do this like stool set, and there's a lot going on there emotionally, and I felt like that was probably the most powerful scene of the whole season, and that's why that episode, which is called Kind of Blue, after the hotel, is my most memorable episode. It's just they did a lot of things, and in between that was other scenes, like her mother getting drunk. That was probably, I think her name is Maureen Hinkle, the actress that plays her mom, gets to shine in a comedic performance. Then there's the, so Susie gets some comedic bits in between, and then Joel has his whole breakdown over his Asian girlfriend. There's a lot of other stuff in that episode. So I feel like every character in the show actually gets a good moment, either dramatically or comedically, and then it has all the weight of the social commentary that it was carrying. So that's why it's my most memorable episode. Next up, background bums and bosses, or bosses. You have a bum or a boss, Fabs?
I have a couple bosses, and I'm going back and forth between who. At first I was going with Sophie Lennon. It's just her, this whole season is just her being a ridiculous, overblown diva in every way, shape, and form. And Susie having to deal with her and trying to manage her in different ways, like as she's trying to put this play on that Sophie really, really wants to do this play, and it's like a dramatic play, and it's going to be different for her, but then every single moment of getting this play to happen is Sophie just being an absolute dick and just a complete diva and making everything so difficult.
She's extra.
So extra, like just like crazy. And then I also kind of wanted to go with the Shy Baldwin character. I don't know the actor's name.
And I said this to you before. I loved his performance, but I didn't do any research because we don't do that here. And I don't know if he's actually singing, and that changes it for me because
were he to be singing,
they chose to express a lot of his emotional path through the season,
through the songs that
he's performing
sings,
at the moment. Mm-hmm. And if the actor's not singing the songs, it takes a little bit.
Well,
away
if
from
he's lip syncing them, it's a pretty good lip sync, I would say. Somebody look it up. Was he singing or not? To me,
I do like the performance, but it's so linked to his musical performances that it's hard to separate them, and I don't know if he's doing both.
To me, I'm assuming that he was singing them, but if he isn't, that's not going to detract from, the character story that he had to play with that character, and the way he did it, I thought was really... He has several conversations with Midge throughout the course of the season that are very moments where you can see her kind of going through things, and him kind of... We don't know until later when we find out that he's gay, that he's going through things too, so...
Yeah, when you find that out, and then when you rewatch episodes, it kind of changes the...
You're like, oh...
Yeah. Another positive of the Shy Baldwin entourage comes with Sterling K. Brown as Reggie, his manager. I didn't give him any kind of reward for it because that dude is a fucking G, and this looks like the kind of performance where he's just kind of got to let his hair down, metaphorically, and just have a good time. He didn't have to do too much dramatic, heavy lifting. He just had some fun scene pairings with Susie, and he was just basically there to be almost like a future version of like what this job does to you. Like you start out as friends, just like Susie and Miriam Midge.
Yeah.
And then you end up in this weird amorphous version.
Yeah, he doesn't let him do stuff, and he's basically like just momming around. Like,
yeah, if they start out as like whatever they are, and then they end up as they're still friends, but their relationship is so tied to their professional relationship.
Yeah.
That it's no longer genuine. That's why he needs Midge, because their friendship is still pure and it's not connected as much to business. Because you can just be yourself, gay black man, whatever.
Well, I mean, the other thing that you go back and see with them too, once you know that he's gay, is that you know that guy has his back. He kind of like
Yes. It's clear he knows he's gay.
He knows so he takes care of him.
Yeah, he's a good manager, but the friendship is probably broken at this point.
Yeah.
And you can tell that because he doesn't call him after he gets beat up. But again, Sterling K. Brown, I wouldn't even put this in his top 20 performances I've seen him in, but it's good to see him.
Yeah, he adds a lot.
My background boss is tied to the Comedy or Cabbage episode, and it's Luke Kirby who plays Lenny Bruce. He is doing a performance that is somehow was always sweet and also super dead on. Like, he's doing a great impersonation of Lenny Bruce. If you
watch,
and he's always had like this sweet side with Midge, but this one leveled up because he did kind of in that date episode both at the same time.
Yeah.
Plus he got to interact with her father, Tony Shalhoub, and so it was like this season he kind of did a little bit more than he did in the previous 2 seasons, and he was on screen about the same amount, but I feel like he had more dramatic weight in addition to his hilarious impersonation of Lenny Bruce.
Oh yeah, it's so dead on.
So that's my background boss. Next up, special shout out. I will just say that my special shout out was your one of your bosses, which is Jane Lynch's Sophie Lennon.
Mm-hmm.
She was in 1 episode in the first season, 2 episodes in the second season, and I think like 4 episodes this season. She keeps showing up on screen more, which is, for a gimmick character, hard to keep a gimmick character interesting. And this time it was just as it's just as funny as it ever was, because, you know, she has she's this proper lady, and then she has her like on stage persona of
complete opposite.
The I don't like a old hag, and then she has the mental breakdown pieces of her trying to expand her career into a different lane, and then she has the blend of both. And, you know, in every season she gets bitched at by Susie. That's like they have to make a reason for Susie to yell at her every season now. So, you know, it all works out for me, and I love what Jane Lynch is doing, and I hope we get more of her in season 4. Who is your special shout out going to?
My special shout out is going to actually, it's going to Vegas. When they go to Vegas in either must be the second episode or something, that whole episode is, as a person who's been to Atlantic City a lot, it was hilarious to me. There's like, they're doing the slots, and then they're like, cherry 6, that should have been something. And they have a whole bit with that. Then they have a whole bit where they're trying to learn how to play craps, and they're like, soft ways, hard ways, what is this? They're like asking about all the things on the table, like, what does this mean? It was, and then they're like, oh, what happened? All this time passed, I don't know. Why are there no clocks in here? It was all very much reminded me of being in a casino, and so to Vegas.
Yeah, and this is Vegas in 1960, so
yeah,
it's a different.
So it's probably a lot like Atlantic City now.
Yeah, when they met the mobster, and just like how it was.
She's like, he does
food and beverage. As a director of food and beverage. It's like an awakening, you know, their whole gambling thing, and then it turns out that she's addicted to gambling.
Oh yeah,
which they had planted the seeds the first 2 seasons for Susie. She's kind of always playing cards or something. Even in the first episode of this season when she was like beating the army guy. So she's good. And then Vegas, and then it just spirals, and that her story becomes kind of sad.
Yeah.
Because she ends up, you know,
she's
being more poor somehow than she already was.
In debt. She's like betting on horses and sports gambling and everything.
And she's bad at it.
She's not so great at it, but it seems like she just gets hooked on any game, like,
the action
quickly.
Is the juice for her. And I hope it all works out. I mean, honestly, if I'd rather have Miriam Midge fail at comedy than have Susie be a degenerate gambler. Like, I don't want anything negative to happen to Susie.
No, I love Susie. She's my favorite character.
And as we are talking about her, let's just transition right into our most valuable performer. And spoiler alert, Susie.
Yeah, I wanted to say something different than you, but I struggled with, you know, a lot of the other actors in the show have great characters that they do a lot with, but I just love Susie so much. Like, I connect with her, and I'm sure you're going to say the same thing. She's not, like, Midge's character, who's like a Jewish American princess. She's not like rich and spoiled and has 100 dresses. She lives in a tiny little apartment with these two gross dudes. She has gambling issues. Her family is a fucking mess.
I wouldn't call those dudes gross.
They're gross. Yes,
First
they
of
are.
all, whatever the guy's name is that she first sublets to.
He's the owner of the club where she worked at, where Midge first.
Not the owner, just a coworker. And
okay.
That plot line is just an excuse to get him on screen because they're not at the Gaslight anymore.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a funny part of the show. And them talking to each other, they're like, how can we make them talk to each other more?
Well,
and they just make it so they live together.
Her one bedroom.
Jackie? His name is Jackie. I don't know what his real name is, but that's the character's name.
Yeah, Susie's life is her and her family have a whole bunch of mess going on there, which is feels very real too. Like, and then during this season, like her mother has to be taken to like a home or something.
Yes.
Which they don't even make too much of it because it's like, and she has this relationship with the mobster guys who tried to murder her in previous season or whatever. Remember?
Yeah, that because they were from the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
they kidnap her.
Jane Lynch had her business managers had hired some goons to like basically scare her and or murder her. They don't really ever say. They joke about it, and you kind of get the feeling that's what they were hired for. And it turns out they're from the same neighborhood, so they just warn her.
Yeah, they just kind of like let her go friendship. After they take her to their house and like give her a meal and shit, and they become friends. And then this season they come back because she's trying to get a theater for Sophie Lennon's show, and they're like, "We can get you a theater."
Yeah.
So they're kind of like her goons now. She can call them up.
They showed up. They were at the TV station.
Yeah, when she needs some mob shit done, she's like, "I got somebody."
Yeah, she's real plugged in throughout the city. Like she has that deli they always go to. And she's got all those connections, and then she has now the goons, and then she gets around New York. Yeah, for me, I feel like I try to only compare the show and the character arcs against themselves, and I don't think that anyone else this year had the amount that she had to carry. I think she interacted with every single character at some point. And I don't think anyone else did. Like, everyone else just kind of have their circle. And it goes circle, 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 circle. And they're just kind of like, this person's friends with this person. Who's friends with that person. And you're like, even Miriam Mids does not interact with every single character in the show. Because I don't think she went to the deli this year. Like, that's normally where they had their meetings.
They had their meeting in this, when they were beefing. Where then she was just like,
I'm leaving. But like, she didn't talk to any of the guys. Like, she doesn't talk to them. But Susie interacts with every fucking body in the show and has a story with all of them or a fun time. Like, and that matters. I mean, the conversations that she has with Sterling K. Brown, Miriam, are just like, hi, good luck today. And then he'll go to Susie and be like, she better fucking be funny. And he's like, no, it's going to be workout. And it's like, so she has a completely different relationship. And they show that on screen. Like, how she interacts with people versus how Midge interacts with people is different.
How people treat Midge versus how people treat her.
Yeah, they think she's a man. That's the joke that the army guy tried to recruit her in episode 1. And she didn't even bother to correct him, to tell her, like, I'm a girl.
And that's one of the things that I really love about her character is that, and they don't make a big deal about, like, just the fact that she's not feminine. She doesn't try to be feminine, and she doesn't get offended when people mistake her for a man or whatever, or say things about her appearance that are really unkind. Like, happens like
every time she gets into like some kind of tiff, she wins. I mean, you can't out insult Susie. Like, she comes out with some fucking zingers.
Yeah. But I like that about her characters. Like, she's not, like, her and Midge are very much the opposites, where Midge is, like, just putting on this beautiful facade of who she wants to be a lot of times with her appearance, and Susie is the complete opposite, like, and unapologetically so. She's just like, this is who I am.
Yeah, and that's why she's my most valuable performer. So what we're going to do now is just give our rating, and it'll just be for season 3. Spoiler alert, if we're still watching season 3, obviously we liked season 1 and season 2. But for season 3, what would you rate Maisel?
It's rewatchable. I've rewatched a couple episodes since watching them. So yes, rewatchable. Watch it again. It's great. It's a great show. It has like very snappy dialogue, funny, great. It's kind of like a play a lot of times to me. It feels like a play the way things move through the show.
I also am going to say it's rewatchable, obviously. I feel like this is my new Psych almost. It's 40 to 50 minutes each episode. It's really about fun characters that you all enjoy and their relationships between each other. And there's always a good laugh in every episode. And you can rewatch just scenes from any season with out of context and it'll be funny and you don't really need to know anything. And I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy, and that is the widget that moves the plot along mostly, is that she's an aspiring stand-up comedian. So they have the fun stand-up scenes, which are funny, and not just hers. There's the Lenny Bruce part of it too. And then you have the funny parts of just each relationship of them talking to each other, and they mix it up, and everyone is ridiculous. Like, they're cartoon characters, essentially. Like, when you look at it, if you were actually look at it compared to, like, Breaking Bad, like, these aren't real people. These are cartoons that just live action people are playing, because they're all so quirky, but also they're also quick on their feet with comebacks and snappy dialogue. And it's just like, I get it. That's how the creator likes the rhythm of all her shows go. But this is just, it's like Psych. It's fun. It's light. Nothing too high stakes ever happens. And it just keeps moving. And that's why I like it. So rewatch it. And that is it for our Marvelous Mrs. Maisel Season 3 review-ish. My name is Guy.
And my name is Babs.
And if you were thinking that this was a waste of your time, remember,
no one asked for it.